everybody, and welcome back. It's been a long time, we know for sure, but welcome back to a breakfast time with Waffle and Richard. A lot has changed. People have moved locations, as you can see by the backdrop. This ain't the normal apartment. But first, Waffle, how you doing, man? How was your summer?
Good. Summer was cool. Just worked and suffered through the last couple of months without football, but now it's September and it's here. I'm very excited. Very excited. High school, college, NFL starting this coming week. It's the best time of the year.
Absolutely. Most wonderful time of the year. So talking about moving, your boy moved all the way out to Texas and moved as far west as he could in Texas to Lubbock. Working at Lubbock Christian University now. So if you're wondering why things look a little different, so Lubbock, Texas now, one of the LCU, and excited. It's gotten busy, but it's been a lot of fun. So
really you're practically the Hank Hill of sports information directors.
Exactly. I'm trying to be like that. Trying to do like that. I do sports information and sports information accessories.
Yeah.
There we go.
Beautiful.
No, it's been fun out here. I will say this: the no humidity is phenomenal. Like, it's still hot. There's no humidity out here, and there's a breeze, and it is fantastic.
I am very jealous. I want to feel that feeling.
It is fantastic. Very nice. Did experience my first dust storm the other day, though. I was inside, luckily. It was there in a volleyball tournament, but got to see it from outside. And so I was like, this does not look fun. Glad I'm in here. So,
definitely not.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been busy. And hopefully we can keep this podcast going during all that. But today we'll start off, and college football is back, like Waffle said. And fun week one. I think it was, looking at the slate, you kind of thought, there'll be some good games. And it seemed like there were so many good games this past week. But because, of course, we're still fans of our teams, we're going to look back and we're going to talk about our teams first. And we'll talk first about the South Carolina Gamecocks. And, a lot more optimism. Again, optimism last year with Shane Beamer. Got you to a bowl game. You won the Dukes Mayo Bowl over North Carolina. And then you roll into this year, like, okay, more optimism, taking on Georgia State. You got Spencer Rattler's in at quarterback, the transfer from Oklahoma. And you're sitting there, you're like, okay, this is going to be great. Kind of got off to a slow start, but then, man, the special teams comes up big. The defense does their thing. And South Carolina is able to pull away in the second half from a pretty good Georgia State team, consistently good Georgia State team, and get the win 35-14. Thanks in part to outscoring the Panthers 23-7 in the second half. What were your overall impressions of this new look South Carolina team?
Overall, I was pleased. I don't think I'm ever going to be upset about beating a team by 21 points. The offense was a little sluggish to start, but there's new pieces. There's new pieces of the puzzle, and obviously that most important piece is Spencer Rattler. Whether criticism and all like that, obviously there's a lot of talk out there about Spencer Rattler. Obviously on the Carolina side, I mean, you think that eternal optimism. I mean, you want him to come out and be the Heisman contender that we thought he was going to be last year. And of course, there's a lot of doubters as well. But the fact of the matter is that Spencer Rattler is the highest graded quarterback we've ever had, like highest rated in terms of his rankings out of high school, that South Carolina has ever had. And that's enough, because I mean, you look at these teams from the past 9 years, ever since 2014. Mm-hmm. Like we had good quarterback play with Dylan Thompson in 2014, and since then we have not had anything. I mean, maybe you could say Jake Bentley, but obviously that is a name that'll divide the fan base. There were times when he was good. There were times when he was god awful. So, I mean, that's just how it is. Right. And with Rattler, it just brings in a sense of hope. Pairing him with an experienced offensive line in terms of their years, seniors and juniors. But offensive line was still iffy on Saturday night. Couldn't really run the ball. Rattler was running for his life. But here's my biggest takeaway from the game is that Rattler has mobility and Rattler can extend plays and he has a rocket arm. And that alone gives me enough hope that regardless if he's running around for his life, I'm still going to think, okay, he is good enough to make a play here and extend a drive or, just pull something out of a hat for, to make something out of nothing. So Carolina overall, I was pleased. Obviously, I wish we could have run the ball a little bit better, but offensive line, they are experienced. I'm sure they'll settle in as the season progresses. Wide receiver group was okay. I didn't see a whole lot out of Josh Van, who was really good last year. I wonder if he is hurt or not 100%. I'm honestly not sure, but he did return some punts. But as far as him actually in there on like first, second, third down, he wasn't there a lot. There were a couple deep shots that Rattler tried to hit him, but he was well covered. So waiting to see what's going to happen with Josh Van. But newcomer Juice Wells, who's a transfer from James Madison, had a few catches. Jalen Brooks, the Wingate transfer from a couple years ago, didn't play at all, if any, last year because of certain different things. And he had a really good game. I thought that he was good. He had 4 catches for 88 yards, along with 39 for him. And then tight end Jaheim Bell, with the addition of Austin Stogner, who also came from Oklahoma with Rattler. You're going to see Jaheim Bell line up in a ton of different places, whether it be tight end, whether it be wide receiver, whether it be full back / running back. And that's what Jaheim Bell did. He had 7 carries for 39 yards, also had 4 catches for 18 yards. So little Swiss Army knife there that you can kind of use, and it makes the offense interesting. And I don't know if you noticed this, Richard, but South Carolina lined up in a hybrid wishbone a few times.
Yeah, and fourth and short.
That is – wow. I love that. And it's not your typical wishbone. It's not just quarterback under center, fullback behind him, tailback split. It's more like if you took your tailback split and your fullback, it's like your fullback's playing a shotgun formation and it's just tailback split. He's that close to him. And then Rattler's up there. So it's an interesting little formation that, I started thinking about different things I could do out of it and I got excited, but
you can do some sweeps, you can do some screens, you can do whatever. It feels like.
As far as defense, I mean, your first reaction would be to look at Georgia State's rushing yards. They had 200 rushing yards. But once you take away, there were 2 rushes. There was 1 rush of 41 yards and 1 rush of 44 yards. And obviously you take those away and they ran the ball for 120 yards. And that's their offense. They passed for 111 yards, but they run the ball. So it's easy to say Carolina's run defense wasn't good, but you know what? I thought they kind of settled in. And in the second half, Georgia State couldn't move the ball.
No.
They were moving it pretty decent in the first half. It was 12-7 at halftime, but Carolina kind of shut them down. As far as the linebackers in the secondary for Carolina, fine. There wasn't a whole lot of passing threat. But your guys like Brad Johnson, senior linebacker, and also Cam Smith, who is the highest rated cornerback and is projected to be the first cornerback taken in the NFL draft, which still blows my mind how we end up with a guy like that. But they had good games minus a couple penalties. Special teams. Moving on from Parker White, I thought was going to be tough. And while it's only been 1 game without him, Mitch Jeter nailed 2 50-yard field goals. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, what other kicker in the nation's coming out for his first 2 field goals and is drilling 2 50-yarders? I would say that's enough to be like, okay, this position's pretty much set in stone.
Yeah.
And Kai Kroger, the punter, had a couple good punts, had a fine night. And the punt defense, Pete Limbo, special teams coordinator for South Carolina, give that man a raise. He's done a great job last year too.
Sure.
And especially Saturday night, 2 punt returns for touchdowns. I'll take it. I don't care who you are, what you say, 21 offensive points and 2 block punts. If I can score 35 points a game, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know that's not going to happen when we play the likes of Arkansas, Georgia, an SEC team. Yeah. But, it's something to build on. And, I was excited. The atmosphere was great. It was loud. It seemed like it was. I wasn't there, but
Yeah.
The new lights were
Lights,
crazy.
that is so cool, man.
Lights
That's
were
one of the
dope.
coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Like,
it might time up perfect. Now I don't know how I don't know how Carolina's going to do the rest of the year. For all I know, they could go 3-9. For all I know, they could go 9-3. But if South Carolina can put it together and in the next couple of years really build and really start to become a good team and start consistently winning 8-9 games, that home field advantage is going to be unreal.
oh yeah. Like, I'll say this about South Carolina: even the years they're horrible, those fans still show up, and it's still a tough place. And that's why they upset Georgia, upset Auburn, upset Bama back in Garcia, because the fans showed up and made it a tough place to play. And you kind of go in, you're not expecting it, and then you're like, oh, this is loud. So just adding that, and now with the hope of Beamer and Rattler, I think it is going to, in a couple of years, if this track keeps going.
Yeah. I hope so. And I mean, all signs point to progression. So, just throwing a couple stats: Rattler, 23 of 37, 227 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. 1 interception was not necessarily his fault, went through the receiver's hands, even though it was a little bit high. The second interception was dumb. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I believe he was expecting a receiver to keep running maybe. So, I mean, just miscommunication looked like. And obviously you look at those stats and you're like, oh, you're a Heisman contender, huh? No, obviously not. But I mean, there were things I saw that I haven't seen in years, and gosh dang it, I'm going to be excited about it, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
Carolina couldn't run the ball, shocker. So maybe we'll figure that out. And yeah, that's about it. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, just that mobility of Rattler, because I can't really think of a quarterback who could run. I mean, Thompson could kind of run, Shaw could if you had to, but since then, Bentley really wasn't a runner. Helinski really wasn't a runner. Nobody last year except for, I mean, when they put Joyner back there, and ran the Wildcat or had him do whatever in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which again won the game because he dominated North Carolina, but still. Adding that mobility, I think, is crucial for South Carolina, especially when their rushing cannot get going. And it's like, okay, you got to throw it, and you got to get yourself some time. And I think that's key for South Carolina all this year. Again, Rattler, nothing that's going to blow your mind when you look at the stats, but again, that mobility is just huge. And when your defense can do that, I think it's great.
Yeah. Rattler, first game, new offense. Like, I'm fine with the effort that I saw on Saturday night. Obviously, things ramp up quick. We go at Arkansas, we play Georgia, so got to grow up quick in that sense. But as the season progresses, he's going to settle in, once things start clicking, hopefully, there'll be some good times.
Yeah. No, if things start clicking, the good thing again after Arkansas, Georgia, you get Charlotte and South Carolina State. Charlotte's horrible. SC State's an FCS team. You should be able to, after 2 weeks, adjust. You got to get through it. It's your conference play. Maybe you pull off an upset if you can get some things to go your way. Of course, when we'll talk about later, if you're looking at Arkansas and Georgia, that's going to be very tough to do this year. Yeah. You get Charlotte and SC State, you get some time to kind of get your feet back under you and get back to a winning record. Just window of those, you'll be 3-2, and then you can roll into conference play with more confidence for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, and so that's South Carolina. Another team, our other team in South Carolina, they played last night. We're recording on Tuesday. They played on Labor Day. Clemson Tigers took on Georgia Tech in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta for a Chick-fil-A kickoff. Really weird why this game wasn't at Bobby Dodd. I think it's one of those things where, to be honest with you, I think Georgia Tech got locked into a contract and nobody wanted to come play them. Because I'm 90% sure what happened was, if I'm remembering right, so Georgia Tech played North Carolina in Mercedes-Benz, and they'll actually win that game. This was back when North Carolina was ranked top 20 in the country. I thought North Carolina was going to win, had a chance to win the ACC, and of course, kind of fell apart for them. But Georgia Tech ended up winning that game. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to play either, I think, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. The Oklahoma State game just fell apart. Notre Dame game was supposed to happen during COVID year, so that got canceled. And then I'm pretty sure Georgia literally looked at them and said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're coming to Bobby Dodd. So Then it was like, well, who's our other rival? It's Clemson. All right, y'all coming down here, right? It's like, sure, whatever, fine. It's going to be 70% Clemson fans anyway, like it is at Bobby Dodd.
Yes.
And it was, because everybody from Clemson lives in Atlanta.
Hey, real quick though, there were no fans in the very upper deck.
That
Why
was
not?
weird. I don't understand, because Georgia played there Saturday and it was full.
Yeah.
But I figured there was.
I mean, you can't tell me that there wouldn't be enough Clemson or Tech fans to come and watch. You can't. I looked, and when they first showed the stadium, it was just like red seats, and I was like, "Why is that?" I need somebody to find an answer for me.
Yeah, because they were. I noticed when they interviewed Dabo at halftime, I was like, "Why is all that empty?" I feel, that's. I mean, regardless of how bad Georgia Tech is, that's still a big rivalry every year. It's Clemson Georgia Tech. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I would expect Clemson fans to. I mean, there was already a lot that made the trip. It's not like it's that long.
Yeah, it's 90 minutes away from campus. All the students were going to go if they could. So I mean, but anyway, Clemson, boy howdy, the first quarter looked just like last year, and so did the second, and it was like great, 14-3. We have no offense once again. The defense was phenomenal. Pick on the first play of the game.
Yep.
Do nothing with it. Took Clemson 2.5 minutes to get 5 yards in the red zone after a block punt. And I had to go for it on 4th down, which was frustrating. But then, second half, it clicked. After it was 14-10, you're thinking, okay, Georgia Tech needs to stop. Clemson comes out, and it clicks, and it works. And they end up outscoring them in the final. They go on a 27-0 run to win 41-10 over Georgia Tech. And DJ Uyunglele, I think, and this is personally, and people are going to crucify me for it because I'm defending DJ Uyunglele, did not play that bad. He had his moments. He had the fumble. He had the bobbled snap on 3rd and 1 in the first drive of the game. He had the fumble on the second drive of the game that cost him points. And at the time, it was 14-3, still a close game. Mm-hmm. But, man, he had some drives. And I have said this, Clemson should go no huddle every single time. Because since they started doing that with Taj Boyd and Chad Morris, every single Clemson quarterback that's gone no huddle has just looked so much better. And I think it's because you literally have no time to think. You're just like, I got to get the ball out as quick as possible. Who's open? There you are. Go. Because Trevor Lawrence, I think, was the best no huddle quarterback I've ever seen. Because I'm pretty sure about 95% of his drives ended with some kind of points. Because he was just like, I'm getting the ball out and I'm running. I don't care what happens. So they did that with DJ, and it worked a lot. They got 2 touchdowns out of it. He went 19-32, 210 yards passing and a touchdown. Rushing wise, 13 rushes, 19 yards, and a touchdown. Good touchdown run at the end that kind of iced it. And it's not all on DJ. The offensive line, especially the right side of the offensive line, that younger side, was struggling with Georgia Tech's defensive front. I mean, McFadden and Davis Allen, they had to put Davis Allen in there a lot so he could help out with some of the rushes. And that worked. Clemson finally got some rushing lanes open for Will Shipley. He still only had 10 rushes, 42 yards. Maffa, 8 rushes, 28 yards. Pace had 5 rushes, 13 yards. So it wasn't like anybody was getting too wide open rusher-wise. But still, that was a struggle. Then he had some drops. E.J. Williams had one wide open right in the hands, and he just dropped it. Same with Bo Collins. He had one. Now, Bo Collins didn't make a great catch for the first touchdown of the game. And so he may have decided that's going to be your number 1 receiver. He did go to high school with Uyunglele, so it's probably your number 1 guy. Davis Allen got in on it. Will Taylor, former Greenville Flyboy, got his first touchdown, and it came from Clay Klubnik, who came in garbage time, 34-10, led a great drive, and this is with Drew Sweeney out there running around. Game's been decided, but he went 4 of 6, 49 yards and a touchdown. Also had a 1 rush for 4 yards. He looked great, and now everybody's going to read way too much into it because it was garbage time against Georgia Tech. First of all, I don't think the guys hate each other. You saw every time DJ caught the field, Klubnik high-fived him, and especially when Klubnik for his first touchdown pass, DJ ran on the field and jumped up and high-fived him. So I don't think there's any animosity, first of all. Let's stop all that. But second, again, it's garbage time, and I know people are going to read into this and go, "Oh man, imagine if K Klubnik had Bo Collins out there and Davis Allen out there and had Wilshire." First of all, the offensive line played bad, especially to start off. Now they got rolling once they kind of started to figure out what Georgia Tech was doing, but still, you tell me if K Klubnik had the handoff to Will Shipley, was Shipley going to bust through for 18 yards all of a sudden? Was Antonio Williams going to catch some of those balls that he dropped all of a sudden? That's the only thing. Now, again, I'm not here to be a K Klubnik hater. I'm not here to stand for DJ Uiagalelei. I know DJ Uiagalelei was horrible last year. He drugged that team down, made all those games so much closer than they should have been. But also, you got to remember, half the receivers were hurt, half the O-line was hurt, and you had Sweeney starting, along with Jacob Berlingschlatter, or however his name is. Byron Stool, or what? It's got the weirdest last name. He started him, and surely Sweeney lined up out there against South Carolina. I remember texting you going, "Well, I have never seen Byron Stool before in my life. I have no clue who this guy is running around right now." But yeah. So again, there are a lot more issues. I think the offense is, and it's one of Dabo's faults. Dabo regards on his guys a lot, and sometimes that's to a fault. To where you kind of need to realize, Dabo, something ain't working. I get hiring within, I get making it a family, but I 100%, again, Brandon Streeter's gotten a lot of flack. I need to see more, because there are sometimes it's just, we're going to run just zone read. Oh, it's third down, and all right, slants. And that's it. So you got to figure out something. Again, it sounds weird to talk like this about a 31-point win over a rival in a conference game the first week of the year, when the defense did great. But this is going to get dissected a lot for the next week. And then, of course, the next 2 weeks, Clemson has Furman and Louisiana Tech. So you're going to see a healthy dose of both Uiagalelei and Klubnik, because those both should be blowout wins. And so you're going to see both quarterbacks. And, of course, you're going to see Hunter Helms. I'm just throwing him out there, throwing out Hunter Helms out there. Let's not forget about him.
True.
Who had one of the greatest passes ever against Georgia Tech 2 years ago that was called back. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Just let him keep it. But, no. Yeah, all in all, I'm happy. I know it's the first half frustrating. It's like, here we go again. But then they woke up. And so, it's the first game. Things are going to happen like that. I'm more frustrated for Georgia Tech fans, because Jeff Collins' game management was horrible in this kind. Jeff Collins, first half is ending. It's 14-3. You get a stop about 40 seconds left or so. Or it looks like you're going to get one. Just doesn't use a timeout. So Clemson just runs the clock all the way down to 5 seconds, calls a timeout. And this is when it's 14-3. And then Clemson punts it. Of course, punt hangs in the air. Aiden Swanson, by the way, Aiden Swanson had a phenomenal game too at punter. He kept pinning Georgia Tech deep, so great job by him. And BT Potter made all his field goals, so no complaints on. And then Clemson, of course, had 2 block kicks, so special teams were great for Clemson too. And, okay, half ends. Then Georgia Tech comes out. First Clemson drive. They score on their first drive. Make it 14-10. Okay, it's a 4-point game. Georgia Tech has to call a timeout. Okay, well, so maybe something stupid happened. I get that first week. And later in the third, it's still a 14-point game. I think at this point. Or no, at this point, it's an 11-point game. Georgia Tech calls another timeout the next Clemson drive. So now you're down to 1 timeout in what's still a relatively close game. You're not out of the water yet. Go to the fourth quarter. You're still only down. So it was 24-10. You're down 14 points. You're in range. You get a touchdown. You have a chance. 13 minutes left in the fourth. Jeff Collins calls his final timeout on a punt that Clemson went out there. Clemson lined up in a punt on 4th and short. They had no intention to snap it. And Jeff Collins called a timeout. And Dabo Swinney's over there grinning on the sideline because he knows he just got you to waste your final timeout. And then Clemson goes and pulls away. And then later, At this point, the game, I think, was 34-10. The game's basically wrapped up. But, you're still playing for something, Georgia Tech. Go out there and do something. Georgia Tech on 4th and 2 in their own territory sits there and goes, you know how we never did the option? How Jeff Collins said we're never going to run the option. We're going to get rid of it. They line up in the wishbone. And it's not the South Carolina one. It was the wishbone. And try to run a wide back sweep, and the running back runs right into his own lineman. Turnover on downs, Clemson gets the ball, scores, game over. Jeff Sims, who I think is a great quarterback, 23 of 36, 164 yards, touchdown, had that one pick on the first play of the game, 13 rushes, 41 yards. He is dynamic. This man's getting wasted. He's been there for 3 years. He has been wasted by Jeff Collins. And again, when Jeff Collins got hired, I know that's a tough job to change from the option to the spread. They had 17 running backs on the roster, but he completely got rid of the option. You cannot do that with this team. You have to keep some read option, some sprint up, something that looks familiar, saying, okay, I know what I'm doing. And his first year, he lost to the Citadel, an option team, in his second game, his first home game. He has won 3 games every single year. And again, I give him a pass for COVID. I'll do that. I look at Georgia Tech's schedule. I don't know who else they're beating. I think they got Western Carolina this weekend. And I think they got a horrible G5 team coming in. And in the future, don't look bright because every year you have to play Clemson and Georgia. And down the road, Georgia Tech has to play either Notre Dame or Alabama 4 years in a row.
Mm.
I don't know how long Jeff Collins is going to be there because Georgia's down there kicking your butt and everything. And at least when Paul Johnson was there, Georgia was a better program. But Georgia Tech would beat them because Georgia Tech ran the option. And it would always throw Georgia off. And that's how they won games. And that's how Paul Johnson won 2 ACC titles and an Orange Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a secret weapon. He's like, okay, you know what? We're not better than you, but we run the weirdest offense. And if you're not ready, we will beat you. And then also he got lucky with, of course, Calvin Johnson, Marius Thomas coming in there 2 years. Of course, it happened when you get a good wide receiver in the option, you're going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. And he had Tobias Oliver who could actually throw it. So again, I don't know what's up with Georgia Tech. I think the positives for Clemson outweigh the negatives. There are a bunch of negatives. And everybody's going to dissect that Clay Kupnick drive for the next 6 days until the Furman game. And every time someone steps on the field against Furman and Louisiana Tech, the message boards are going to go crazy. Yeah. And, I don't think it's fair to completely bury either of them right now. But it's an interesting time to be a Clemson fan. Again, weird to talk this much after a 31-point win over one of your biggest rivals, but it's just a weird game right now, and it's just weird feelings about Clemson, and just weird feelings about Georgia Tech's future too from this one.
Yeah. I'll start with this. Jeff Collins is 2 halves of a whole idiot, and he should have been fired last night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's awful. He's so bad. The best thing about Georgia Tech last night was the fact that Jeff Collins didn't wear the hat that just has the T on it.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm by the way, sorry. Georgia Tech's 2 other non-conference games besides West Carolina and Georgia. Ole Miss and at UCF. They are winning 1 game all season. I say maybe Duke because Duke has a new head coach.
Yeah.
Every other game, I don't see a win on here, but so we'll see if they can find one. Maybe North Carolina because that defense is horrible, but other than that, no clue. But go ahead.
Yeah, they're in for it. They're not great.
No.
Their offensive line is just bad. It's so bad. They got some guys on defense that can fly around.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think their defense is necessarily going to be terrible.
No.
And like you said, Jeff Sims, I think, is a good quarterback, and he is very athletic and dynamic. And Clemson's defense is immaculate. So, I mean, once they play, anybody that's not named Clemson or Georgia, I think their offense will be able to generate a little bit as long as they can block somebody, which is not likely. But they're definitely in for it. But about Clemson, let me say this first, and I don't want this to come across. I don't want this to come across wrong. But correct me if I'm wrong. Did this game not look just like South Carolina and Georgia State at one point?
It did. It
I
really
swear
did.
it did. Now when Clemson blocked the 2 punts, I was like, it's the same game.
Yeah,
It's literally the same game. An offensive, a team with offensive questions. Obviously, Clemson's biggest question is DJ, and South Carolina's biggest question is Rattler.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 offensive lines that are not great. 2 offenses that struggled in the first half. Clemson figured it out a little bit better than Carolina did. I'll say that. And two defenses that, for what it's worth, played well and are good. Obviously, Clemson's defense is leaps and bounds better than Carolina's. I'm not stupid. Clemson's defense is great. Carolina had a pretty good defensive outing, I would say. And combined with the offensive struggles and 2 punt blocks, this felt eerily similar to South Carolina. Maybe we're not as different as we seem, but we all know that's not true because of last year. Anyway,
we said last year it was going to be 6-0, and then all of a sudden,
correct.
It happened. So we gotta realize that.
So is what it is. But as far as for DJ, I agree with you. I think that obviously at the beginning it looked just like last year, and there was a lot of chatter and a lot of talk and a lot of stuff that might have been warranted, at least for that first quarter. But he eventually did settle in. And the good thing about DJ and Clemson, I mean, he's got 2 games here coming up that he can, try to figure it out. Now, obviously, they're going to play both quarterbacks because I'm sure both games will get to a point where DJ's not needed anymore. And they will throw Cade in there, and he'll probably play pretty freaking good as well. But DJ's got 2 games to work on it, and then he comes out and you play Wake Forest. And if something hasn't changed by then, I don't know. I mean, do I see Dabo pulling the plug on DJ? No, I honestly don't.
No.
And I don't think that's just Dabo being blind and being loyal to his guy. I just don't. I don't know if you do it that early. I mean,
no.
If DJ comes out and y'all get beat by Wake Forest by 3 scores, okay, sure, maybe. But is that going to happen? No, your defense still exists.
Yeah.
But I thought DJ had a fine game. 210 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Still, there were a couple times where he held the ball a little bit long, but then combined with the offensive line being inconsistent, I mean, it's tough. Did Cade Klubnik come in and lead a very good drive? Absolutely. 4-6, 49 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he was very efficient, did well. The running game's got to get going. Will Shipley is an absolute weapon. And I still have yet to see him really just, break out.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe a couple games last year, but I mean, like in a big time game like the offensive line's got to do their part so Will Shipley can thrive. Mm-hmm. And you set up Will Shipley, I mean, then it should be a lot easier for DJ to get something going through the air.
Yeah.
But I thought Clemson's defense was phenomenal. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I mean, the offense, it really, even after the end of the game yesterday, things have to improve in these next 2 games before you come out and you play Wake Forest, who not as tough because Sam Hartman's not with them anymore. But that week after is NC State, and obviously, I know there's pent up emotions and aggression on Clemson's side because of the loss last year. And if NC State is undefeated, that's going to be game day 100%. Because by that point, NC State should be at least in the top 11 or 10.
Yeah. And NC State, this is the first they have all eyes on. We got to make it to the title game. This is our year.
Right. And I mean, NC State's NC State. Like, I, in no way, shape, or form, even if Clemson's offense just regresses to even worse than last year, I still don't see NC State like winning a blowout because of Clemson's defense is going to keep you in every game, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
did last year, except for one. Like
you got a lot. You got to figure out a good bit of stuff in these next 2 weeks. Come out, put on a good show against Wake Forest, even if it's just like a 10-point victory. Wake Forest is still a pretty good team. You need to you got to win that game by 10 or more, and then you got to face NC State. And I mean, if you make it to that point and you figure it out and you beat NC State, with the exception of like Notre Dame, which is not a conference game, it's smooth sailing from then on out, with the exception of maybe Miami, just depending.
Yeah. They do have to go during that stretch. They have to go to Wake Forest. NC State's a home game, and then go to Florida State, go to Boston College. Florida State does look a lot better. We'll talk about them. Boston College got a horrible loss, but that's a weird trip for Clemson. So that's a tough 4-game stretch. So you got to figure it out. And hopefully go to Winston-Salem, handle business, and hopefully by that point, okay, this is who's starting for the rest of the year. So
right, yeah. So I mean, in the long run, I think Clemson is fine. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose. I still stick with my original thought, which was in the offseason. I think Clemson has the opportunity to lose 4 games. Are they going to lose all 4? No, they're going to go at worst, I would say 10-2. I'm not even going to go 9-3. I think Clemson's set up. I mean, they just got to figure out some stuff as far as like bigger picture if you're trying to get back to the playoff. But
and still last year I talked about when Clemson went 10-3. Take away the pick 6 against Georgia, Clemson maybe wins that 6-3 again. Who knows? NC State was in overtime. Pitt's the only team that dominated them. That's because Kenny Pickett finally got going. So and you just couldn't, and the offense couldn't do anything. So. Yeah, I think it's fine. Now, again, regresses. We'll see. But in the next 2 weeks, luckily, it's like do whatever you want and handle business against Furman. Louisiana Tech should do well.
Yeah, I agree.
So, let's look around the rest of the college football landscape. Got started last Thursday. I just want to mention this. Oklahoma State beat Central Michigan 58-44. This was a game that was a blowout until the fourth quarter when Central Michigan decided to score 22 points.
Very interesting.
Yeah, weird game for Oklahoma State, who had a great defense last year. So I don't know what happened there, but
maybe they just surely at that point they probably took people out. I mean, they were up 47-7 at one point, I think.
It's gotta be
maybe 47-15, whatever.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, very interesting for sure. Big time game in Pittsburgh. Pitt and West Virginia meeting for the first time in 11 years, the backyard brawl, and this game delivered.
Yes, it did.
So much fun. 38-31, Pitt wins it. Keaton Slovis, got to see him debut for Pitt. He looked really good. And Pitt's defense is back. Pitt might be the front runners in the ACC again, despite no game looking at Jordan Addison.
Yeah, Pitt looked good. Looked like they didn't really miss the beat. Now West Virginia, I think West Virginia was better than people thought they were going to look. With JT Daniels, but what a game. I mean, obviously, you got to feel for the West Virginia wide receiver. What was his last name? Ford Wheaton.
Yeah, drop
because
off.
I mean,
had a great game besides that.
That son of a gun was everywhere. 9 receptions, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the game-losing pick 6 goes right through his hands. You got to feel for him. I hate that, but
the other thing that is interesting is West Virginia had all the momentum, and their running back was doing well, and they decided to punt it on 4th and short in Pitt territory, and Pitt was able to tie it up at that point. So some interesting decisions, some heartbreaks that don't go the way of West Virginia, but still that happens, and it's early. But man, heck of a game. Glad these 2 teams should play every single year.
Amazing game.
Yeah. We'll just mention that Wake Forest beat VMI 44-10. Griffiths coming in for Sam Hartman, 21-29, 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Wake Forest looks to be solid. Tennessee beats Ball State 59-10. Tennessee, that no tempo is working well.
Yeah, Tennessee looked really good. Now, granted, I mean it's Ball State, but Tennessee looked really good.
Yeah. UCF, South Carolina State, I only mention this because John Rice Plumlee is the quarterback at UCF, and he destroyed the Bulldogs. 308 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 86 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Hopefully he finds a good spot there for him. Glad to see him there. Florida International beats Bryant in overtime, 38-37.
What a game. I mean, just unreal.
Yeah, insane. Penn State beats Purdue 35-31. again, like Clemson, Penn State needs to run the hurry up every single time because Penn State went down there and got the game-winning touchdown and went 90-something yards in less than 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And won the game. So, trains, what are y'all doing? Because they had locked up Sean Clifford until that last drive and looked amazing there.
I will say two things about Purdue. The first thing I want to say is Aiden O'Connell. He slings that thing, man. Yeah, 29 of 58. I mean, it's 50% completion percentage, which is not great, but slinging that thing 356 yards. And it doesn't matter who he's got at receiver. I mean, he's got a new guy. I don't even know how to say his last name. Is it Daru? I can't remember.
I think Daru,
Daru. That's the running back. Stupid.
You got Jones,
the receiver. 12 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, they just reload. Like, they're never that great. I mean, they won 9 games last year, but I don't know, just lately I'm just amazed that they just pass it so well. And I think it's just because they're a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
And they just sling that ball.
Spread it out are Ohio State usually, and you see whenever you see someone else do it, it throws you off. But man, they did not want to run any plays to chew the clock at all there, and it kept working for the longest time until it just didn't one time. So
and the second thing I'll say is Purdue early case for uniform of the year. It's just the helmet. The helmet with the train tracks is unbelievable.
The train tracks in the end zone too, phenomenal.
Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. The all black and gold, which obviously you and I are both partial to that because of our high school. But gosh, those uniforms are so beautiful.
Yeah. Rolling into Friday, Duke beats Temple 30-0. That's Duke's first shutout of an FBS team since 1999, which is wild.
Yes, sir. First win in the Mike Elko era, and him coming over from A&M as the defensive coordinator. It's Temple, but I mean, what a defensive effort from Duke. I mean, even if it is Temple, that surprised me.
Yeah, get a shutout. It's big for Duke, so we'll keep an eye on that. Michigan State beats Western Michigan 35-13. This is every Michigan State game ever. They start off so slow, and then Peyton Thorne decides, oh, yeah, I'm a good quarterback, and has 4 touchdowns. So and they have another good running back, Barger, 16 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. It was just every Michigan State game ever known to man.
Yeah. Screw Michigan State. The line on this game was -23, and I took it, and they won by 22. Screw you.
Dang. Virginia Tech goes to Old Dominion. Virginia Tech now has a 2-game losing streak to Old Dominion because Old Dominion won 20-17.
It just makes me smile. I don't know why. Like, I really don't have ill will towards Virginia Tech, but I mean, I don't know. Like, sometimes when they lose, I'm just like, wow, thank you, God. I don't know why.
Also, Virginia Tech will play Old Dominion for the next 9 years in a row. Whoever signed that contract. It's stupid. It's all home and homes for the next 9 years. So
whoever coerced them to sign that contract from Old Dominion is a genius.
Exactly. Because if we can win at least half of these, it's worth it. That's all you gotta do is win maybe half. Just win 4 and you got it. William & Mary beat Charlotte 41-24. Charlotte, horrible. They are
trash.
Awful. After getting blown out by FAU, they have Maryland this week, and then they have South Carolina later. It ain't gonna get better, folks.
Here you go. Carolina beat Charlotte 34-17. You heard it first.
Kansas football blew out Tennessee Tech 56-10. Look at that. The Jayhawks went to work.
Good job, guys. Very proud of you.
You're confident. Indiana beats Illinois 23-20. Connor Basilick, he's also slinging that thing around. 28 30 yards and a touchdown. Good for Indiana. And
good for them. The line was Illinois +3. I took Illinois +3. So push. We don't like a push.
And then TCU beat Colorado 38-13 in that one. On Saturday, Bama beats Utah State 55-0. Bryce Young. Hey, guess what? He's Bryce Young. 18-28, 195 yards, 5 touchdowns, ran for 100 yards and a touchdown. Bama's Bama.
Bama.
And again, this is against a team that won the Mountain West Championship last year. So
that is true.
Yeah. Ohio State beats Notre Dame 21-10. Ohio State had a lot of offensive pieces missing, and it was a slug to get through this one for them for a while.
It was.
But eventually, I think it was one of those again where talent overcame. They decided they ran the ball more. Henderson had a game, 15 carries, 91 yards. I think Ohio State's good. I think Notre Dame's a lot better than we're going to think. I know we overhype Notre Dame every year, but I think Notre Dame's still going to be a pretty good team especially after seeing this game. So
yeah, I'm sure they're going to be fine. Ohio State's defense played a masterclass in the second half, shutting them out. So
yeah, I think Ohio State very good team. Probably can't argue one of the top 3 teams in football. This game, I thought, all right, let's see what Georgia's offense can do. How's the defense going to look without them? Maybe they won't look as great. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Georgia won 49-3.
Stop right there. Stop. Bo Nix sucks.
Beauregard, come on, Beauregard Nix.
He is awful. Watch him this year. They're going to play. I don't even know if they play Arizona. Let me fact check.
They got to play Utah at the end of the year again. So
they do play Arizona. They play Arizona at Arizona, or they play UCLA at home 2 weeks afterwards. And he will throw for 6 touchdowns, but he will do nothing the rest of the year.
That is the only quarterback I've ever seen never get any better and never get any worse. He's
horrible.
And he just does whatever happens, and it is hilarious. Also, Georgia, if he transfers again, just needs to find where he transfers to and keep scheduling him because that man's kryptonite.
Yes.
Georgia.
I will sit here and confidently say, with all of my heart, if I had to pick between Bo Nix and Zeb Nolan, I'm picking Zeb Nolan.
I'm picking Zeb Nolan too. Man, Stetson Bennett, 25-31, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stetson Bennett's going to somehow, he's been there for 18 years at Georgia, is somehow eventually going to go have a chance to win a Heisman. But it's wild to think that man who looks like he should be selling car insurance is.
Yeah.
Of all the quarterbacks Georgia's had, Aaron Murray, Matt Stafford, he's the one that's won a national title.
Yeah, that is wild. In short, Georgia looks just as good as last year, and it's quite scary.
Yeah, and now their offense can do stuff because they couldn't that much.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Their offense clicked. I mean, their defense was still disgusting, but the
last year game, their offense was bad. Now their offense looks pretty good. Now it's like,
yikes.
This might be the best team now.
They come to Columbia in 2 weeks, and I'm really not excited about that.
Next game, Texas A&M beats Sam Houston 31-0. It was a Texas A&M game. They won, and it was boring. That's all.
Yes, it was very boring. There was a rain delay, and welcome to FBS, Sam Houston. Yep. How about it?
Florida upsets Utah 29-26. Anthony Richardson out there just doing things, and it's working. So
this game made me very upset for 2 reasons. The first reason, obviously, this is our first podcast in a while, but Richard, I was high on Utah.
Yes.
I was so high on Utah. I thought that this was going to be this could be the year that they're going to steamroll through the Pac-12, make it to the playoff, have an opportunity. That's down the toilet, at least for right now. And on the other hand, my biggest question mark in the SEC East was Florida, and oh God, they look good.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
Yeah.
Richardson was crazy good. He was so good against Utah.
Yeah, it's wild. I was listening to the Showdown podcast. Spencer Hall said it's great to look at your head coach and see, wow, there's someone who has some confidence in him. Billy Napier. So that's good to see that. So Billy Napier starting off hot for sure with that big time upset over a Utah team that's probably still going to win the Pac-12. So Michigan beats Colorado State 51-7. Oklahoma beats Utah 45-13. NC State ECU.
Oof.
ECU had so many. First of all, from last year, you don't go to Greenville, South Carolina,
right?
And NC State, who's all hyped up, picked to win the ACC, picked to make it to a big time bowl game, and it's like, all right, let's go there.
Yeah,
and
if you're
21-20.
If you're a Power 5 team, the eastern coast of North Carolina is not favorable for you.
No, and ECU has a chance to tie it up, missed the extra point. So you're thinking, okay, this is game. Oh, that's it. ECU gets another chance. They have to kick a field goal, misses it. NC State passed on their curses to ECU. So NC State might win the ACC now, but again, I'm still waiting for them to be that team they are every year and come to Clemson, where they haven't won at Clemson in a while and just fall apart. So,
yep,
it's interesting, and man, that was heartbreak for ECU for sure.
Yes,
in that one. Keeping on going, USC beat Rice 66-14. I just want to mention USC had 3 pick sixes in this game. Rice, horrible.
Lane Kiffin didn't bring that because Oklahoma didn't have no defense.
Yep.
Not Lane Kiffin. What am I talking about? God bless Lincoln Riley.
Riley. I was like, wait a minute.
Sorry, I'm rusty.
Yeah. Arkansas beat Cincinnati 31-24.
Hey, now hold on. I'm sorry. You just skipped over Miami.
Oh yeah, beat
Miami's back.
Shut up.
I can't even say that with a straight face. They played Clemson. They played Clemson the week before South Carolina, and they're going to have 4 to 5 losses. They're not back. Sorry, just had to say that.
Yeah. Anyway, Arkansas beat Cincinnati. This was a fun game. It was a great atmosphere there in Arkansas. Bryant, who's having to come in for Desmond Ritter, I think that fine. In Cincinnati, 26-43, 325 yards and 2 touchdowns. But man, just KJ Jefferson, my large adult son, able to throw and run around. Arkansas, man, Sam Pittman, we said it was going to be a hard job, and he has gotten them so far ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. And again, they got to play Bama every year. They got to play the rest of the SEC West every year. I think this is going to be a very good Arkansas team, though.
Yeah. I would like to think that South Carolina's, let's call it a character arc, could be similar to Arkansas now that we have, let's say, a generational talent at quarterback. Let's just say that. Yeah. Like KJ Jefferson, obviously KJ Jefferson burst onto the scene last year, and Arkansas was good, still lost some games. But now in year 2, they look primed to be a real contender, which I would like to think is how the South Carolina story could go. Obviously, nobody knows that, but nobody knows what's going to happen. But Arkansas looked really good. And yeah, we'll talk more about Arkansas here in a second because South Carolina goes there Saturday.
Kentucky beats Miami of Ohio 37-13. This game was close, and Kentucky needed just 62 seconds to score 2 touchdowns in the third quarter to pull away. So Kentucky pulled away.
I can't mess with a quarterback that puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I love mayonnaise, but that's ridiculous.
You're right. That's disgusting. Absolutely.
I can't. I want to beat Kentucky every year, but I want to beat the mess out of Kentucky for that. That's awful.
Ole Miss beats Troy 28-10. This game, Ole Miss got up 28-3 and just put it in park, and it worked. Yeah. So
park the bus on FIFA. Directional pad left. Park the bus.
Yep. He just parked the bus and did nothing, and it worked. So good job, Lane, I guess. Houston and UTSA, this game was insanity. 37-35 from 3 overtimes. First of all, the Alamodome was sold out, packed, insane atmosphere. Clayton Tune got absolutely rocked going in to score the game-winning 2-point conversion. Dana Holgerson in mid, he was going to go chug a Red Bull and vodka after the game.
My guy.
Dana finds a way to win in those insane ways. This game was awesome. This is probably the best game, one of the best games of the day, at least the best top 25 game, I would say, for sure. It was so much fun. Hate it for UTSA, though. That would have been a big-time win for them after having such a great year last year. Man, crazy game for sure.
Yeah.
And then let's get to the rest. UConn won a football game, 28-3 over Central Connecticut.
Hot diggity dog. But you know what? They still don't have a winning record.
Nope. And I think that's the only game they're favored in all season. Now, let's go back 100 years because Iowa beat South Dakota State 7-3. And, folks, Iowa did not score a touchdown.
Richard, this game was just so Awful.
Horrible. The
Please let me do your ears the good graces of running through the play-by-play. Can I?
Please do. It's
all right. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa. All the kids in the hospital waiting. All the fans waiting for their Iowa Hawkeyes to take the field. And boy, did it start with a bang. A punt. South Dakota State punts. Iowa 4 plays, 5 yards after a 20-yard punt from South Dakota State, mind you. Iowa misses the field goal. And South Dakota State punts. Iowa punts. South Dakota State punts. Iowa goes 4 plays, 5 yards. This time makes a field goal. Points. All the kids celebrate. Punt by South Dakota State. Punt Iowa. Punt South Dakota State. Punt Iowa. Punt South Dakota State. Interception thrown by Iowa leads to a field goal for the Jackrabbits. Iowa knees it out. All the kids in the hospital are booing. It's 3-3 at halftime. We come out the second half and hot diggity dog, you guessed it, a steady diet of punts. Punt by South Dakota State. Punt Iowa. Punt South Dakota State. Punt Iowa. Here's where it gets fun. I guess. South Dakota State goes 1 play after Iowa has an All-American punter. Oh, you don't say. He gets a lot of practice. South Dakota State 1 play from practically the 0-yard line. And they hand it off, tackle to the end zone, safety. Iowa takes the lead, 5-3. My God, this baseball game is amazing. Iowa then gets the ensuing punt. Another punt.
Oh my God, there was on a safety.
Iowa takes it 7 plays, 57 yards, and just throws up on the field. And the ball just ends up in South Dakota State's hands. South Dakota State returns the favor by going 23 yards, teasing you, just a punt. Iowa gets the ball back, punt, 3 and out. South Dakota State, 3 and out, 0 yards gained. Iowa, punt, 3 and out. South Dakota State, 3 and out, -8 yards. Iowa defense, wow, amazing. Iowa, 3 plays, 0 yards. Hey, they can do it too. South Dakota State backed up again, loses 8 yards on this. Another safety, 7-3. What a 2-run home run from Kirk Ferentz. Amazing. Iowa, 6 plays, 20 yards, punts. South Dakota State, last-ditch effort, turns it over on downs. And mercifully, that is the end of this god-awful game in Iowa with all the kids watching. This game sucked. This is ridiculous.
This is awful.
It literally set college football back 100 years. Like, this is so bad. 7-3, and you didn't score a touchdown. That's honestly mad impressive.
Yeah.
Iowa's defense, hey, salute you, sir. My God. But your offense, Petrus, is so bad.
He had a quarterback rating of 1. I have seen 0. It's hard to get 0. He had a 1.
Ugh.
By the way, the punter for Iowa, Torrey Taylor, of his 10 punts, 7 were inside the 20-yard line, and 2 were touchbacks, and both of those hit on the 5-yard line. If someone could have gotten down there, he could have had 9 punts inside the 20-yard line.
He's a phenom.
He's
an All-American for a reason.
Yeah.
My favorite stat from this game is that there were over 1,000 yards in punts.
Yes.
21 combined punts between both poor, decrepit teams. And you thought Clemson was bad. You thought Clemson's offense last year was bad. It ain't this bad.
No.
And Iowa's defense is very good, very just like Clemson. Iowa's offense is literally like a middle school team. It's bad. It's so ugly. The fans deserve to boo. That's awful. Kirk Ferentz, I like you. I've always liked Iowa. It's time to go, cuz.
Yeah, this ain't going to work. Or maybe it does. Maybe Iowa goes out there, scores 10 points a game, and finally wins the Big Ten. But I don't see it.
I think that their defense is good enough to keep them in games, and this is a solid 8 to 9 win team, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But good God.
But you send Petrus out there. What's he going to do?
He's so bad.
Like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, dude.
This game, and spoiler alert, guess what's this week? The Cy Hawk Trophy game, Iowa State, Iowa. And that game is going to keep sending the football back 100 more years.
Yes, that game. Watch both teams just come out and have 600 yards of total offense, but there be
it's
12 turnovers combined.
Yeah. This was ugly. It was horrible. My God,
That's
Iowa
awful.
football is something. Rutgers beat Boston College 22-21.
How about them?
Oof, Boston College.
Yeah.
But also, this is despite Rutgers having 4th and goal from the 43-yard line because that happened. Next game, the game of the year already. North Carolina beats App State 63-61. 62 combined points in the fourth quarter. Chase Bryce, 25-36, 361 yards, 6 touchdowns in this one. Drake May, the quarterback out of North Carolina, who has just been slinging it. 24-35, 352 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also ran for 76 yards and a touchdown. App State, wide open pass, chance to take the lead, drops it. Then an onside kick. North Carolina returns for a touchdown. Then App State scores again, and Chase Bryce gets tackled short. 2-point conversion fails. North Carolina's defense is the opposite of Iowa and Clemson in that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Because against Florida
North Carolina,
week 0, Florida A&M hung around for way too long in that one.
And how many players did they have?
They had 20 players out, including their starting quarterback, at Florida A&M. So
North Carolina and Iowa are just absolutely complete stark opposites.
If they were both to combine, greatest team ever.
Absolutely. If you put that North Carolina offense combined with the Iowa's defense, I'm talking 67-3 every game. Just ridiculous. Some like early 2000s Oklahoma beating up on some podunk team score every game.
Yeah, and if you have to punt, we got the best punter in the country.
Right? Yeah, he's a phenom.
Exactly.
North Carolina, I said it after that Florida after that FAMU game. They can score with anybody. I don't care who you are. They could. The way their offense is cooking, I would project them to score 3 or 4 touchdowns on Georgia, but their defense cannot stop a soul.
No,
their defense would make Petrus look like a Heisman candidate, and that's straight facts.
Yeah,
if Iowa and North Carolina played each other, can we manifest that? Maybe both teams would be like 6-6, 7-5, and play in I don't even know what bowl game.
Sports Cheez-It Bowl, something like that.
Sure, yeah. Do the Cheez-It Bowl or something. I don't know. Just put the game in a miserable place like
Shreveport, just Liberty Bowl.
Alberta, Canada, and it's just.
This is the Idaho Potato Bowl now. I don't care if it's the MAC and the Sun Belt. This is the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Freezing cold. Drake May still lights it up, 6 touchdowns, but Petrus against that awful North Carolina defense, 7 touchdowns. Iowa wins. What?
Yeah. Oh man, North Carolina's going to do this all year, and I think they're just kind of like, you know what? What's funny is that Gene Chiswick's the defensive coordinator. My man was retired, and now he's come back to all this stress.
Yeah.
Go home, Gene. Gene, you had the money. You didn't have to do this, and you came back with your friend Matt Brown wanted you to. And boy, he's killing you.
Gene, you won a national title in 2010 with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. just go home.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
You won that, and then if I'm not mistaken, did he not go 3-9 the next year?
Yep.
Like, bro, it was over.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
You don't have to do this, Gene. You don't need this
You
stress in your life.
you made your deal with the devil for 2010. It's over. Get out.
Oh man, yeah. North Carolina's going to be so fun to watch, but that's wolf defense is so bad. Delaware upsets Navy 14-7. Navy fumbled on the first play of the game. That's all I want to say about that. And
That never ends well.
yeah, that set the tone for it. Other scores: Arizona beat San Diego State 38-20. Arizona looks competent this year, so go on the road, be a pretty good San Diego State team. So
maybe
we'll have to see. Nebraska decided to play at Dakota, and it almost didn't work out for them. They went 38-17 over North Dakota. Not the good Dakota, but still, they had to pull away in this one. And
they had to. It was tied at 7 at halftime.
And this was after they came all the way back from Ireland and decided, yeah, let's not have a week off. Why? Why would you do this?
Because Scott Frost likes his offensive linemen throwing up every practice. Like, that's a deranged man.
Exactly. So, yeah, Nebraska, once again, it's going to be a fun year to watch them. Wyoming beats Tulsa in 2 overtimes 40-37. This game was weird because the way it ended, Tulsa had every chance to go score. They throw a pick. Wyoming gets it in field goal range. The field goal literally hits the very top of the cross of the upright. And Wyoming ends up winning an OT, but that's just a wild game for sure. James Madison beats Middle Tennessee 44-7. That's JMU's first game as an FBS team. They didn't miss a beat.
No, they did not.
Rolled over MTSU in that one. Vanderbilt beats Elon 42-31. Now they gave up 31 points, but Vanderbilt's 2-0, baby.
Hey, but so what you're telling me is that Elon can go to Hawaii and get a pretty good win, huh?
Probably, because Vanderbilt beat Hawaii 63-10. So Elon, make that trip out there. Go get that money.
Not a good weekend for the service academies, that being Navy and Army. Army goes to Myrtle Beach. Probably had a great time, but lost by 10. So
yeah. 38-28. Liberty got pushed to 4 OTs with Southern Miss. Southern Miss is horrible, by the way. That's not good for Liberty. By the way, Liberty's starting quarterback, was Charlie Brewer. Remember that name? He is still around.
Yes. Oh, Virginia Tech boy, right? Or Baylor guy?
I think both. But he got hurt again. My guy. You don't need to keep doing this.
Give it up, brother. It's over.
Yeah. They get that one. Mississippi State beats Memphis 49-23. SMU rolls over North Texas 48-10. Syracuse beats Louisville 31-7. Louisville.
Yeah, what?
Yikes.
I cut this game on fully expecting to see Malik Cunningham in a boot because something happened to him, and he was still playing, and it was 24-7. I was like, huh? Yeah.
Like, Tucker's a great running back for Syracuse. I think Garrett Schrader's an okay quarterback. Louisville should not have lost by 24 points, I would have thought.
That surprised me big time.
That's shocking. So.
Our poor Washington State Cougars had to struggle against FCS Idaho.
Yeah, 24-17, the Battle of Palouse. They were down 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was 10-10 at halftime. Ended up winning 24-17. Well, it's going to be tough for Washington State, huh? Looks like this year. Meanwhile, Boise State gets beat down 34-17 by Oregon State. It was 24-0 at halftime. So, Beavers good?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe.
And then let's go to Sunday. Florida State LSU, the wildest ending to a football game you will ever see. Florida State goes up toward the very end. Jordan Travis throws a touchdown pass. Then Florida State has to punt. They get stopped. LSU has a chance. Malik Neighbors fumbles it for the second time. Muffs a punt. Florida State's got the ball at the 8-yard line. My brother in Christ, all you have to do is fall down and kick a field goal. You're good to go. They decide to run a toss sweep, fumble it. LSU has the ball. Now, no timeouts left, though, about a minute. LSU gets all the way down to the 2. hold up now. Tight end didn't get out of bounds, but Florida State called a timeout. So they get 1 second on the clock. Slant pass, touchdown, LSU. All right, kick the extra point. We're going to OT. Extra points blocked. Florida State wins. The last 5 minutes of this game, absolute insanity.
Chaos.
Florida State found a way to win somehow, thanks to a blocked field goal. Their second blocked field goal of the night.
Yeah.
And they win it.
Not only to me, like this game was amazing, but it also had the most egregious and
the worst targeting call.
The best example of targeting that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the LSU kid's name was, but Jordan Travis threw an absolute dot for a touchdown and literally got headbutted.
Yeah. And then they gave him unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm like, nah. If you get headbutted and throw a touchdown, you can talk whatever you want.
This man has a grade 4 concussion and dropped that thing in the breadbasket. Yeah. He can say whatever he wants, even if he's slurring his words and speaking German.
Yeah. Absolute insanity in that one. Was part of a fun weekend for sure. A lot of good games. But man,
I can't get over that. That's literally like the absolute, like, you see it and you're just like, oh God, get out. You should be suspended for 6 games. Get out of here. God. That was awful. That was so bad.
Insane. Yeah. It's a crazy weekend, of course, for college football. Now let's move on to week 2. We'll go to the preview. Here's your Clemson-Furman preview. I think Clemson's going to win. There you go.
Solid analysis.
Yeah, you're going to see both DJ and Cade play. Furman beat North Greenville 52-0. Greenville's a pretty meh D2 team, so it's not like they're going out there world beaters. Furman's a pretty meh SoCon team, to be honest with you, too. So, Clemson should handle business, especially with that defense. Offense should get rolling. Clemson wins at 52-7, something like that.
Yeah, I can see it.
They could score more. They could score more. Their defense could score. They could, maybe score they'll score at least 40. So there you go. There's your Clemson.
I feel like it could be maybe the half of the first quarter could be interesting.
Yeah,
I feel like it'll be enough to get the Clemson, the Cade Klubnik stands going again.
Yeah,
and then by halftime it'll be 31-7, and then just downhill from there.
Yeah, for sure. New video board going to get debuted at Clemson too. The giant video board.
It's very pretty, very
second
beautiful.
Largest in the country, I think, behind Auburn, and our third largest behind Auburn, Oklahoma State, I think. So
it's very nice, the pictures I've seen.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. So South Carolina, Arkansas. This is actually a game we can dive into. It's at noon Eastern on ESPN. It's an early kickoff. Arkansas is favored by 8.5. The over/under is 53 in this one. That probably sounds about right for early in the year. I think with the South Carolina team, who again does look a lot better, but their offense did struggle at times. And while Arkansas has KJ Jefferson, who is a very good quarterback, and Arkansas's defense did come up big against Cincinnati when they need to. So what's your analysis prediction? What does South Carolina need to do to probably try to win this ball game and still win on the road against a good Arkansas team?
Well, first off, I will start by saying that this is one of the 5 games that I think could be possible swing games in terms of how South Carolina does this year. The way I see it, Carolina has four games that should be automatic wins, those being Georgia State, Charlotte, South Carolina State, and Vanderbilt. Let's just say Vanderbilt. So 4 wins there. I think you have 3 cut and dry. You're taking an L. That is Texas A&M for obvious reasons. We can't get over that hump, at least not yet. Georgia and Clemson. So 4-3, 7 games, 5 left. Those 5 are Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas. Obviously, as it stands right now, the games that I think South Carolina can beat Missouri. And I think that we have the opportunity to beat Kentucky, but none of those games are going to be easy. We got to have things fall our way. So this is a very important game in terms of South Carolina's schedule. But South Carolina early in the season on the road in Fayetteville I don't know, man. Arkansas does a lot of things good. They have a dynamic quarterback. They have a good rushing attack. Carolina's run defense was at times less than ideal against Georgia State. So unless they just miraculously figure out a perfect game plan and are able to stop the run, I'm honestly not expecting anything crazy. Would I welcome it? Of course, but going to Arkansas, it's tough. I think the line 8.5 is about right. I mean, if I had to guess right now, I'd probably say it'd be somewhere around 10, 11 points maybe in Arkansas's favor. But there's still a lot of questions on the table. And Spencer Rattler, for all we know, who knows? He could come out and turn the clock back and just absolutely carve up this Arkansas defense. It could be a back and forth affair, and it's just going to come down to which defense stops the other's offense. I don't know. I'm excited, very excited to watch it. Obviously, a big game. And then the next week, Carolina playing Georgia. So realistically, you're staring 1 and 2 in the face. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to watch first SEC play with Rattler under center. And if Carolina can patch up the offensive line a little bit and they can give Rattler a little bit more time and also open up some holes for Juju McDowell and Marshawn Lloyd and control the Arkansas rushing attack, Carolina might be in for a pretty good day. But I would say probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Shane Beamer mentioned he was on that staff in that 2007 game where it was Peyton Hillis, Felix Jones, and Darren McFadden that ran all over him. So he's like, it was tough that day. It's going to be about the same challenge almost, even though that was just a generational backfield there in Arkansas.
Got nightmares of Darren McFadden ever since that night. That boy he ran all over us, 300-something yards. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So that'll be a tough challenge for South Carolina for sure. Looking at the rest of college football, 2 games on Friday. Louisville goes to UCF. That'll be a tough one for the Cardinals. Got to see what they can do. I'll see what John Rice Plumlee can do against Louisville. Boise State goes to New Mexico. And then on Saturday, Duke and Northwestern. That's your first big test, Mike Elko. You got to take on the Northwestern team with Ryan Helinski, who did look good against Nebraska. That defense didn't look great at times. Now, of course, Duke's defense looked really good against Temple. Got to see what Duke can do on the road early in that one. Alabama at Texas. Alabama's picked the win by 20. All right, Texas, you want me back? Here you go. And also, this is your preview of the SEC because this game happens every year, most likely, when you join the SEC. So
Alabama going to Texas. Cherish that. Obviously, Alabama doesn't play very many true non-conference road games because of the college football's infatuation with making everything a neutral site. This is refreshing. I actually like this.
Yeah.
Even if it is Texas gets treated almost like the Dallas Cowboys. It seems to me like, is that not a great comparison? I mean, my God, Dallas Cowboys obviously historically great. Lately, not so.
Yeah.
Texas historically great. Lately, no. Kansas twice. But Texas is in trouble. I don't know. I mean, obviously Alabama played Utah State, but
sounds really good though. So I'll give you this stat. Texas football in the 12 years before King of the Hill aired, 77, 60, and 2. Yeah, okay, pretty good. Texas football during the 12 years that King of the Hill aired on TV, 128 and 27, won a national title, lost the second one. That was the game Colt McCoy got hurt in early, so who knows what would have happened. King of the Hill goes off the air the next year. In those 12 years, Texas football has been 83 and 71. I'm not saying King of the Hill is going to bring back, if revival would bring back Texas football. But Mike Judge, who is a Texas fan, you might want to do that if you want to bring back.
I think it would. Start writing the new episodes now. But You know what? For my sake, don't write any new episodes.
Exactly.
I'm perfectly fine with this.
I love the show. I'm also like, man, I want Texas to be down the dumps forever, please.
To suffer.
Yes. Wake Forest at Vanderbilt. This is Vanderbilt's first taste, but I think, and you mentioned this, Sam Hartman's back. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I did not.
He got cleared. So what was happened? He had a blood clot in his leg, and they got that cleared up, and he got cleared to play football, and he's going to return this Saturday to to play Vanderbilt. So that completely changes Wake Forest, I think.
Yeah.
Next few weeks.
Good for him, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. Glad to see him okay. Glad to see him back. Hopefully he does well. Most importantly, hopefully he stays healthy, of course, too. But man, good to see him back. And that just changes Wake Forest, I think, their entire trajectory. Because I think you thought, early you could win these games. Now that game for Vanderbilt comes so much harder.
Yeah.
Because Vanderbilt give up 31 points to Elon. Now there's Wake Forest with Sam Hartman, who was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation last year. So,
yeah.
See what happens there. Missouri goes to Kansas State. We're going to find out if Kansas State's good, maybe. I don't know. No one knows how good Kansas State is.
No one ever knows. And no one really knows how good Missouri is. Obviously, Missouri hasn't been really, really good since like 2014, but no one really knows. This has stupid written all over it.
Oh, for sure. Early kick, 11 a.m. Central kickoff in Manhattan. Yeah.
Old Big 12 matchup circa 2006.
Yep. North Carolina, hey, you know how you played tough road game last week? Guess what? They're doing it again. They're going to Georgia State.
I'm very interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, because I think Georgia State's offense wasn't horrible. They just ran to the brick wall that was South Carolina's defense. So,
I just think that North Carolina is going to score at will, and Georgia State is going to run it down their throat for 500 yards.
The over-under is
be
55. And North Carolina's only picked to win by 7.5. So,
I mean, I 100% can see a 49-42 slugfest.
Yeah, for sure. UTSA goes to Army. These are two teams who lost some tough ones. That should be a fun one up at West Point for sure. First MACtion game, Western Michigan at Ball State. That's kind of weird to see them playing so early, honestly. Yeah. But that's an early conference game. Marshall at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's first home game. Should handle business against Marshall, who's kind of fallen off a bit. App State goes to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M took a while to get going against Sam Houston. So
interesting. I don't think anything's going to happen, but interesting.
18.5's the line. I would not be surprised to see App State cover that. Like, I'm not surprised if App State goes out there and plays well with A&M on the road.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Pitt. That's probably
amazing.
The week.
Cannot wait.
That's going to be a wild one for sure.
This game is going to be so good.
Mm-hmm. It was a great game last year. I think it's going to be another good one this year. Keaton Slovis versus Hendon Hooker. That Tennessee offense just runs as quick as possible. Pitt's going kind of back to their old traditional offense, but still works. So that's going to be a great one for sure. Or Wazoo Cougars go all the way to Wisconsin. Play on the Badgers. That could be tough.
Yeah, yikes.
Yeah. Maryland, who always starts off as the best 2-0 team in the nation. We'll go to 2-0 because they play Charlotte this week.
Yes. And they have a chance to keep the trend going and put up 70.
Yep. And I promise you, Maryland plays SMU next week. I promise you, SMU's winning that game somehow.
Yes. Maryland 2-0, Heisman front runners, and 5-7.
Yep. Because after they play SMU, they have Michigan and Michigan State back to back. Yeah. Not good. Houston at Texas Tech. Tyler Slough, or Slow, I always say his name for Texas Tech, starting quarterback. He got hurt against Murray State, going to miss 3 weeks, they think, with a collarbone issue. Still favored to beat Houston. So,
yeah, that's odd to me. That's odd to me that they're favored.
Yeah, the starter, the Donovan Smith, who came in, went 14-16, 221 yards, 4 touchdowns against Murray State. Murray State, but still came in, did well, closed that game out. Yeah, but Clayton Tune, and of course with Dana, it could get wild for sure in Lubbock this weekend. That would be a crazy one. Iowa State and Iowa meet up again. This time it's on the Big Ten Network. Remember, I love how the transition of this game has gone from it was on College Game Day a couple years ago. Then it didn't happen because of COVID. Then it was on Fox. Now it's on Big Ten Network. They are hiding this game away from everybody's eyes.
Now it's the 4:00 Big Ten Network game, which is somehow worse than the 4:00 SEC Network game.
Yeah, they are like, we're going to hide this from everyone. No one needs to watch this. The over-under is 40.5. I guarantee hit the under. Hit that under as hard as
hammer the under.
Yeah. Oof.
I'm talking, 15-12.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be ugly. Because this is also, there's no Breece Hall out there for Iowa State either. So
there's no Brock Purdy to do
Yep.
stupid things.
Yeah, greatest interception of all time against Clemson.
Yeah.
Virginia and Illinois. Illinois is favored in this one, which is kind of interesting.
Old Burt Bielema.
Yeah, old Bert, you gonna try to be on Virginia
Yeah.
this weekend. Going Kansas and West Virginia. Poor Kansas, you're gonna have to be West Virginia's just beat down angry.
Yeah. Not great.
I go Old Dominion ECU. ECU off the heartbreak. Old Dominion is elevated. ECU's picking one by 12.5. So ECU probably going to use up that anger out on the Monarchs, but we'll see what happens. What could be an interesting one? Kentucky at Florida. Here's another big one. Florida jumped all the way to 12th in the rankings, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah. All right. Will Levis started off slow last week. Got to get going. Anthony Richardson going to run around, do whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens in this one. That could be a really fun one. Billy Napier gets back-to-back night games in the Swamp against top 25 teams. So let's see what can happen there. This is the game, though. CBS Sports Network. Big East rivalry renewed. Syracuse at UConn. Syracuse is a 22.5-point favorite in the over.
Oh, how I wish it was Tyler Ennis versus Kimball Walker. But it's not.
You get Garrett Schrader against something Turner. I don't know what the quarterback is for UConn, but that's what you get. So.
Against some math major who just got picked out of the courtyard to come play football.
He's going to make more money than us in accounting later, but right now we get to watch him attempt to play football. Prime time on CBS Sports Network. Just keep that in mind, y'all. USC at Stanford. Interesting stat. In the past 20 years, when USC has been ranked, they have lost to Stanford 8 times. So,
wow.
Trap game for Lincoln Riley, perhaps. Stanford's going to do absolutely nothing on offense and be like, all right, let's see what happens. So, interesting one there. Arizona State at Oklahoma State.
Interesting.
Good, yeah, very interesting matchup there. Nebraska, stop scheduling stupid teams. They're playing Georgia Southern.
Yeah, the option's coming to Lincoln, and you better be ready for it.
Yeah. Stop this, Nebraska. You scheduled Ireland, then Dakota, and now Georgia Southern. Stop this. And they have Oklahoma later this year. Stop this, Nebraska. You don't have to do this to yourself.
Oof.
Hawaii goes to Michigan. Michigan should handle business there.
Yes.
Boston College, Virginia Tech, early ACC matchup. It's a night game on ACC Network, so you know how wild those can get.
Both teams needing to avenge bad loss.
Horrible losses. Let's see what they can do in that one. Your late night games, this is a good one. Baylor goes to BYU.
Yeah, beautiful stadium. Going to be amazing.
Going to be a great atmosphere there. That's going to be fun. And then if you're a sicko, you can stay up and watch Mississippi State go to Arizona.
That is highly intriguing.
Yeah, I am very interested to see what's going to happen in that game.
On FS1.
Wow.
At
11 o'clock Eastern. FS1.
I simultaneously love and hate everything about this.
Yeah. Interesting. Also, Oregon State goes to Fresno State as well. Jake Hayner still running around at Fresno, so could be
he puts his body on the line.
Dude, my man died against UCLA last year. I will never say anything bad about that man.
My man died to beat Chip Kelly. Love it.
Yeah, that's college football. And we'll roll right in now because Waffle, NFL football is back. It's the most wonderful time of the year. High expectations. And you know what's fun? I don't like this having expectations for your team's thing because the Bills, growing up as a fan, it's like, I decided to put my chips in this basket. It's like, all right, just don't have a losing record. Maybe you can get to the playoffs. And now they start to get to the playoffs. They get Josh Allen. They get all these players in. Last 2 years, I've seen a heartbreak against the Chiefs. But now, the Bills are favored to win the Super Bowl. And it all starts this Thursday against the defending champs, the LA Rams in Los Angeles, in what's going to be a heck of a game. Von Miller, now with the Bills. OBJ is still a free agent, and he has talked about coming to Buffalo, which would be massive, but no OBJ. But he's still got Matt Stafford, who just had a resurgence once he left Detroit. And good, so glad for him to get a Super Bowl, for sure. Von Miller got his too. Aaron Donald got his too. Von Miller already had one, but Aaron Donald got his too. So, but another problem for the Bills, though, no Jordan Poyer right now. He's still injured. No Trey White. He's still injured. So that's secondary. It's going to need to be ready. Matthew Stafford. But, man, just there's a lot of excitement for the Bills this year. And I think the Bills offense, we only saw Josh Allen for one drive in the preseason, but he went 3 for 3, 45 yards and a touchdown against the Colts. That's all I need to see. I think this could be something special for the Bills. But there's a tough matchup, of course, big-time matchup, national TV. But it's going to be a lot of fun this Thursday when the Bills step on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I am excited. Maybe you not as much, obviously, because you play them on Thursday. But Allen Robinson is a Ram.
Yeah,
and it's so nice to have him out of Chicago, and I really want him to have a monster season. Which you take away Robert Woods, who was hurt last year. Obviously, he's a Titan now. Which heck yeah, bro. And OBJ comes in, does really good. They win the Super Bowl. Now you arguably add in Allen Robinson, who we know is a great talent. And he's just been brought down by Matt Nagy and Chicago's ineptitude. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. I think that could be an absolutely dangerous wide receiver combo. Another weapon for Matthew Stafford. But yeah, Bills favored to win the Super Bowl. It's wild, isn't it? Think of how far you've come, Richard.
Yeah, that's insane.
But just how far Buffalo's come. I mean, you can't say enough about McDermott. He's done great. And Josh Allen, obviously, first couple of years, it was a little bit of a learning curve, but by God, he's figured it out. Let me tell you what. Still, the biggest question for the Bills going into this season: are you going to be able to establish a run game?
Yep.
I think you're going to have to. They bring back starting running back Devin Singletary, bring back Zach Moss, but they also add in what's his name from Georgia, Cook.
Yep.
Yeah, James Cook. So interesting. You've got Singletary's fine, Zach Moss is fine. You add in Cook, so we'll see how it goes. But obviously, Bills being down Trey White and Poyer is going to make their secondary depleted, but should be a hell of a game on Thursday.
You lose Cole Beasley too, but Cole Beasley is kind of getting shifted out for Gabe Davis when Beasley got COVID. So I want to see if Davis can step up too. Also, you got Khalil Shakir from Boise, who was really good. Drafted him. He should be fun to watch. Questions about that offensive line, of course, but Deion Dawkins back. Roger Saffold in there. Mitch Morse at center. But in that defense, though, up front, you have Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, and Von Miller. That's your starting line. And you have Boogie Basham and Jordan Phillips will rotate in. AJ Espinoza will rotate in behind Von Miller. Linebackers, Tremaine Edwards, Matt Milano is still there. Balin Spector, you drafted him. Kyer Elam, who's done well. Terrell Bernard, Tyrell Dotson, still some question marks there, I think, but they've been solid. But, yeah, no Porter, so you got to go with Jaquan Johnson right now. But you have Micah Hyde, Dane Jackson, and Taron Johnson, and Siren Neal, who all stepped up. And then, of course, you had the situation with Matt Ariza at the very end. But you do get Sam Martin in as your punter, who was solid for the Broncos. So, yeah, this team, just looking at it, I think is solid. Yes, you got to get something going rushing-wise. Also, I forgot about this. Jamison Crowder is now on this team. And he was stuck with the Jets. And so if for some reason, let's say, Davis or McKenzie can't get anything going, or Shakir doesn't work out, you have Jamison Crowder you can throw in there. So there's a lot of weapons. And then, of course, Dawson Knox has been great. Tommy Sweeney has stepped up when he's had to at tight end. So you have a lot of weapons for Josh Allen. I think this is the year. A lot of people are playing Josh Allen for MVP as well this year because of Patrick Mahomes doesn't have Tyreek Hill anymore, so he might drop off. Aaron Rodgers, might have doesn't have Devontae Adams anymore.
Yep.
Josh Allen has all his weapons and more. So that's going to be
shout out my former Tennessee Titans, Roger Saffold and Daquan Jones, now playing for the Bills. Shout out them boys
for sure.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Look at the Titans now. They played the Giants week 1, favored by 5.5 points. Titans offseason, I feel like was kind of, you got rid of Julio Jones left. Of course, that was your big one. And of course, disappointingly, Landry tore his ACL, Harold Landry. That's a big time, just this disappointing thing to see at the very end of the preseason. But overall, Waffle, what's your outlook for? And of course, you drafted Malik Willis, so maybe some pressure on Ryan Tannehill now, which that's been kind of the question mark at times. But what's kind of your outlook for your Titans this year?
I'm nervous. I really am. I still think Tennessee is going to be good, and the AFC South comes down to Indianapolis and Tennessee again. But I am nervous. Defense, I'm not so worried about. Obviously, losing Harold Landry is a heavy blow. Not even because of the sack production. He had 12.5 last year. Signed a 5-year deal. We kept him in town, which I'm very grateful for. Torn ACL now, so very unfortunate. Defense, I think, is going to be so strong even without him. Obviously, a little bit less than with him, but defense, you're looking at. Your ends. You're going to have Bud Dupree on the outside, which obviously the Harold Landry injury just means that you're going to have to get everything out of Bud Dupree, which he should be ready and more than capable to show himself after his year in Tennessee last year, which was injury riddled. And we were better with him than without him, obviously, but now a lot's riding on him. And on the other side, you're going to be turning to Rashad Weaver, who was a guy that we drafted out of Pitt last year, who was also hurt. So he'll be getting a lot of time at defensive end, as will Ola Adani. We brought him back. And then on the inside, obviously, you got Jeffrey Simmons. So I still second best defensive tackle in the league behind Aaron Donald. You can't change my mind. He's an absolute freak stud. Also, still got Danico Autry, who had a great year last year when he came over from Indianapolis. He's still in town, and he'll be playing on the end as well. You go to your linebackers. We got rid of Jayon Brown, who had been there for 4 years from UCLA. Got rid of Rashawn Evans, one of our first-round draft picks from 2018, I think, out of Alabama. Got rid of both of them, so it's your starting linebackers. Zach Cunningham acquired from the Texans on waivers. That still blows my mind from last year. And the man, David Long, say his name, brother. David Long and Zach Cunningham holding it down on the linebackers. And then you go to the secondary, which is still very, very strong. And even with the loss of Janoris Jenkins, yes, not Jackrabbit, Janoris. Even with the loss of Janoris Jenkins, who was he wasn't great, he wasn't bad. He was just, right there. I think the secondary improves even with him gone, because now you're going to be looking at Kevin Byard at safety and Amani Hooker at safety. So you got stability at that position. Kevin Byard, the best safety in the league. Can't change my mind. Watch the film. I know you won't because it's the Titans. Watch the film. But Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, and then your corners, your starting cornerback is going to be Christian Fulton, who started last year. It's going to be his third year out of LSU. And on the other side, rookie. It's not Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley will get plenty of snaps, but it's Roger McCreary, the second-round pick from Auburn, who is going to get the other starting cornerback role, which I am very excited to see him. And then you got Caleb Farley that's going to come in, as well as Elijah Molden, who has been who was good last year as well. So defense, I'm not worried about it. I think the defense is going to be able to keep us in a lot of ball games. Obviously, the biggest question about Tennessee is the offense, and there are multiple questions, and they are genuine questions. You have questions at every position group. Your biggest question is obviously Ryan Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen? The last time we saw Tannehill, it was not pretty. It was 3 interceptions. It was the number 1 overall seed, surprising everybody, and then not surprising everybody when we got kicked out in the second round in the divisional by the Bengals because he threw 3 interceptions. Whatever. I still rock with Ryan Tannehill. Like, this is obviously a prove-it year. We drafted Malik Willis. I like Malik Willis. For the people that want Malik Willis to start, shut up. That's ridiculous. Stop it. This is Ryan Tannehill's team. This is Ryan Tannehill's year. It's a prove-it year. If he sucks it up, move on.
Yep.
If he keeps himself in town, great. All the reports out of training camp, Ryan Tannehill's been slinging it around. So, here's what it is. It's training camp. It's not live action play. Didn't play in the preseason. So, we'll see. Second question, Derrick Henry. First big injury of his career. Missed half the year last year. Still, obviously, before he got injured, was a monster as always. Is he going to be able to continue that? The big thing about running backs, Derrick Henry's 28. He's getting up there in age. Just had his big injury. Coming back from it, will he continue the trend of injuries? Will his production drop off? Who knows? I would like to err on the side of he is a genetic freak, and I think that he's going to be fine, but who knows? So Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and then we got to turn our attention to the wide receivers. We got to go to, yes, the elephant in the room, A.J. Brown is not here anymore.
Yep.
Julio Jones is not here anymore. Not that Julio really did a whole lot last year, which, thank you for your service, Julio. I appreciate you. I pulled very hard for you. But you lose Julio Jones and you lost 1 touchdown. And people are sitting there acting like we just lost like Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost Julio Jones. He scored once. He hardly played.
Yeah.
So, obviously losing A.J. Brown is tough. A.J. Brown single-handedly won us that San Francisco 49ers game last year when he came back from injury. And I love A.J. Brown, and I still do. I wish nothing but the best for A.J. Brown. I hope he kills it in Philadelphia, just except the week that we play them in December. And I wish nothing but the best for him. Appreciate his time. Dang, and I'm going to miss him. But wide receivers, you bring in Robert Woods, obviously coming off a major ACL injury last year. But he's going to be your go-to guy. You draft in the first round, you draft Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Very, very excited to watch him play. Not excited for I hope he's strong mentally, because by God, he comes out against the Giants and he catches 1 ball on 6 targets. Holy crap. He's going to get crucified. It's going to be bad. I hope he's got a strong mental game. And Vrabel and all them came out and said that he is going to have a massive role in the offense, which makes me think that he is going to be more than just a wide receiver. Because if you look at what he ran at Arkansas, they did a lot of screen stuff and they did a lot of running, like running stuff. So Treylon is a good athlete. Had some questions coming in about, his conditioning and weight, but they've figured that out. He's gotten on track. Very excited to watch him play. But you draft another wide receiver in Kyle Phillips out of UCLA. I'm stupid excited about this kid. This guy, I don't think he's going to be your freaking, your flashy first and second down guy. But like this guy, Kyle Phillips can bring to the Tennessee Titans what Adam Humphries did back in 2019 when we made it to the AFC Championship game. Every time it was third down in 2019, I promise you, Ryan Tannehill, I already knew he was going to Adam Humphries, and he was open. And that is what I see in Kyle Phillips. And Kyle Phillips has been dicing up these boys in camp. So I'm nervous, but I'm very excited to watch this wide receiver core get to work. It's pretty much it's a brand new group, with the exception of Nick Westbrook-Akina, who I do like, third year talent, I think, out of Indiana. Hasn't been very flashy, but has been reliable. He has not been hurt, hadn't missed games. So, that's great. Your best ability is availability, in my opinion. So we'll see. We also did add Josh Gordon to the practice squad. I don't know if we should look too much into that, but if Josh Gordon makes it and he dresses out, by God, I hope he can come out here and tear it up like he's 24.
Yeah.
And then the last big question, the offensive line. The offensive line, we lost Roger Saffold, who I'm not hating on him because, I mean, he's starting in Buffalo, but losing Saffold really doesn't affect me that much because he was hurt a lot last year, and it's no secret that his play declined from the 2 years prior when he was here. Obviously, we didn't go out and get a massive superstar to take his place, but your Tennessee Titans offensive line going from left to right, left tackle Taylor Lewan, left guard is going to be Aaron Brewer, a guy who has been on the team for the past couple of years, but has had some starting roles here and there when there's been injuries. He's actually played center when Ben Jones was hurt, but he's moving to left guard. Ben Jones is back on a 2-year deal coming for your center spot. Nate Davis, third-round pick out of UNC Charlotte from a couple years ago, who's been up and down, but has been, I think, more good than bad, playing a right guard. And then brand new right tackle. It's a guy that we drafted in the first round, Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State. Is going to be holding down the right tackle spot. So I'm stupid nervous. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm very excited to watch these boys get back to work. I'm very excited to watch Derrick Henry run the football again. And I'm very excited to watch Ryan Tannehill throw the ball. I couldn't imagine myself saying that in January for obvious reasons, but I'm ready to see him get back out there, and I really want him to prove everybody wrong. And Tennessee's window, as far as being good and possibly playing for something bigger, is still open. A lot of things have to go right, and you've got to hit on these wide receiver additions. But even with the loss of Harold Landry, Titans are still going to be a team that are going to be vying for a playoff spot, and a team that's going to compete in the AFC South and be in it till the end as far as winning the AFC South. But anyway, about the game on Sunday, the Giants' brand new coach Brian Dable, they still have Daniel Jones under center. It's a game that Tennessee should win. It's at home as well. It might not be pretty, but it's a game that Tennessee should win. I will be excited to see what New York brings to the table, how the offense is going to change with Brian Dable as the head coach, and see if Daniel Jones can do it. I mean, for the record, I like Daniel Jones, but that's partially because he's a Duke guy. Daniel Jones is not good, but we'll see. Saquon Barkley coming back too is exciting. Hopefully he stays healthy. Yeah. Also, Adoree Jackson, former Titans is on the Giants, and I hope Derrick Henry stiff arms him into the earth. So
yeah, the Giants are an interesting team. This might be the last year of the Barkley Jones experiment, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they do. I think that game is one of those weird week one games that could be a lot closer than you think, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, Titans should win that one. They're picked to win by 5.5. That's about right.
Should win. I mean, I'm sure my heart rate's going to be 160, and it's going to be nerve-wracking till the end. But
yeah,
should win.
So let's roll over week one. Of course, I said Bills play on Thursday against the Rams. I'll be watching that one while working a soccer game. Yay! So
great.
Yeah. Sunday, Saints and Falcons kicking off strong. If you would have told somebody 5 years ago that Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston would have been starting quarterbacks for both of these teams, I would have looked at you like you were crazy probably. But
yeah,
there we go. Mariota time in Atlanta. I hope he does well. You have Desmond Ridder there as well. Jameis Winston's back after he and Justin Herbert. Got to paint that a little bit, So interesting to see Falcons moving on from Matt Ryan, and interesting to see what happens here. And Saints, I feel like, are up for a breakout year because without Jameis, they did so well, and Jameis was doing really good.
He honestly was. I mean, I'm excited to watch him play, and now they've got Jarvis Landry, another weapon down there for him, and on defense they added the Honey Badger. So we'll see how that goes. As far as the Falcons go, welcome to the Kyle Pitts show. I don't know if Mariota or Ritter, whoever it is probably going to be a while before they get in a rhythm and try to get him the ball because he's probably going to be getting quadruple teamed. But welcome to the Kyle Pitts show.
Yep. And Cordero Patterson, maybe the Falcons again. They're the only team that's learned how to use him right. So
yeah, that's true.
He breaks through. 49ers and Bears. Bears been off Matt Nagy. 49ers all in on Trey Lance, but Jimmy G is still there. So
red flag.
Yeah, there's something going on there, I think. And I'm interested to see how that works out this year for the Niners.
He's just so good looking. They can't part ways with him.
I guess so. It's like, it's you're basically just your wife is sleeping with her boyfriend and you're the husband that's watching it happen, is what it looks like. I mean,
yeah.
Like,
for what it's worth, I mean, these over-unders are kind of all around the same for every game, but this is the lowest one. I just think this is going to be bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, throwing Justin Fields back out there who lost.
I think the 49ers definitely win, but this is just, I don't know. The Bears are like Michigan and Texas and Miami. Until it happens, I'm not going to believe it. So,
yeah, Bears, it's all in on Justin Fields, but man, he's got David Montgomery, and that's about it.
He's got Darnell Mooney on the outside, who was a bright spot last year. So we'll see if they can build on that.
Yeah.
But obviously, internal turmoil with Roquan Smith. It's all just a big mess.
Yeah. Bears are absolutely a mess. Plus, they may be leaving Chicago. They want a new stadium down the road. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's just a whole mess up in Chicago. Probably your game of the week, or at least early window, Steelers and Bengals. Joe Burrow back again. So after leading the team to the AFC Championship, Steelers, they're going with Trubisky, which I think is interesting after how well Kenny Pickett had played all preseason.
I feel like the leash is probably short.
That's probably true. But yeah, so new era, no Ben Roethlisberger in there. It's Mitch Trubisky, who again I think is fine. He just got ruined by the Bears. He did fine when he had to come in for the Bills last year. Grant was garbage time when he came in.
Yeah.
But I think he's a fine quarterback. I think he's the only quarterback to not have a pick six. So it's for a certain number of passes, 500 passes or something.
He's got to be better and more talented than Big Ben was last year.
Oh,
so.
Big Ben was held together by duct tape and hope. He is way better than that. But I mean, you still have Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, Chase Claypool. They still have weapons at Pittsburgh. I think it was just that they didn't have a quarterback. So, but then you have the Bengals, who, my God, Joe Burrow just absolutely torched it last year. Expectations are going to be high now on this team. It was absolute dumpster fire for so many years, and now they're their butt. They have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd all back. Hayden Hurst is there now at tight end. And, of course, that defense, defense is great, and then you have Eli Apple out there. So
well, and they did upgrade their offensive line. So, if they can keep other teams away from Joe Burrow, mind you, obviously we lost, but Tennessee sacked him 9 times. Mm-hmm. That cannot happen. So
heck, solid play that won Super Bowl. Aaron Donald got 3 and knocked the ball out. So
Eagles Lions is interesting.
That's going to be interesting because
Eagles have a lot of new hope. Obviously, A.J. Brown, big acquisition. Young talent, and Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. We'll see. Jalen Hurts has got weapons around him now, so I don't think there's a whole lot of excuses. So we'll see how it goes for them. And then the Lions, Hard Knocks team, falling in love with them, love Dan Campbell. Are they still going to be bad? Probably, but I will pull for the Lions any day of the week.
Oh yeah, interesting. Hard Knocks didn't mention a whole lot about Jared Goff. How long do you think they keep that train going, or do they try maybe to see not somebody else? Because
I don't know. I guess let it pan out because they got Jameson Williams now. I think he's going to be. Hey, I don't know when he's going to play because obviously he injured himself in wasn't it the national title game?
Yeah.
So. We'll see how that goes, but
Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is a good player too. So he's got some weapons. So. Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins look to be the fastest team in the NFL. You got Tyreek Hill now playing there.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill stands by his quarterback. A lot of people very divided on Tua, whether or not he's the answer or not. Well, obviously, I wouldn't expect Tyreek Hill to get traded to the Dolphins and be like, yeah, Tua sucks. I hate this place.
Yeah.
But new coach McDaniel from from San Francisco, a young guy, which is obviously the trendy thing now, but we'll see how that goes. I think that's kind of exciting. And obviously Tyreek Hill's a freak. So,
and then you have Mac Jones, a lot slimmer. Mac Jones started off hot last year and then kind of fell down a little bit toward the end, even though it was beautiful to watch him suffer in that playoff game against the Bills.
Right.
But it was interesting to see how he responds. To see how sophomore slump. He was probably the best rookie quarterback last year. With oddly him and Davis Mills were the two best quarterbacks, and I don't think a lot of people saw that happening in that draft class. Interesting to see what happens here with the Patriots and how long is Bill Belichick going to keep it going? Because since Tom Brady left, it hasn't really been smooth sailing at all for the Patriots. So
it's true.
Interesting to win. Ravens at Jets. Joe Flacco revenge game. Because Zach Wilson injured. Yikes, Jets. They had some hope because, and this happens every year, Jets actually get a splash with a big pickup. They got Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. Okay, they drafted Breece Hall. Quinnen Williams has actually been good. They got Sauce Gardner. You're thinking, man, this team might be solid. And then Zach Wilson gets hurt.
Yep.
And now it's go be elite, Joe Flacco.
Yeah. At least we'll get to see Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Could he be the answer, maybe, at running back? But who knows?
Lamar Jackson got paid, and I got to see what you can do with it. So he might want to get out. So
right. This next game, Jacksonville and the Washington first game as the Commanders. Carson Wentz revenge game. How about that? Carson Wentz revenge game.
Yeah.
At that awful FedEx Field owned by that awful man, Dan Snyder. I hope Carson Wentz comes out in the Letterman jacket. And I hope he just absolutely tears up the Jaguars. Carson Wentz is no longer a Colt. I'll pull for him, especially against the Jaguars. So go Commanders.
Travis Etienne will get his first regular season game after missing last year. And of course, it's on this garbage field. Please do not tear your ACL again. Please. For the love of God.
Please, God.
For the love of God. Please, no. Interesting to see what the Jags do with an actual coach now.
I am excited to see them. I think that they will be still probably bad learning curves, but they should be a lot better.
Anything's an improvement, I think. Honestly, if you just win 4 games, that's an improvement.
Yeah, you're right.
Browns and Panthers, Baker Mayfield revenge game. And of course, no Deshaun Watson for the first 11 games of the season.
It's whack.
Yeah, interesting decision, especially with Calvin Ridley. We also talked about Calvin Ridley not playing this year because, like I said, you can't gamble, even if it's sponsored by the NFL. But boy, you can go.
Nothing makes sense. The same thing happened in past with instances with Ray Rice. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah, Ray Rice.
Nothing makes sense when it comes to women.
Yeah.
Even Ben Roethlisberger. Nothing when it comes to women. The NFL just throws up.
Yeah,
they throw up in their mouth, and then they're just
Yeah.
But you gamble, hey, gavel, get out.
Yep. Gamble by DraftKings, who is a sponsor of the NFL.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. Browns, Panthers. So Jacoby Brisket going to be at quarterback for the Browns.
Oh, Jacoby Brisket.
For the first 11 games. Panthers, Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he's the answer. He didn't look bad in the preseason, which again, preseason, but still.
He's got to be better than Sam Darnold and Cam Newton. He's got to be.
Yeah. Again, still thought it should have been Matt Corral. And my heart wanted Matt Corral to win that job, but
True.
It's Baker Mayfield time. Interesting for sure. Panthers are picked to win by 1.5, so this could be a fun one. I saw somewhere the Browns have not won a season opener on the road since 1994. The Panthers were not a team until 1995. So That's how long it's been since the Browns have won a road game to start off the season. So it's gonna be a fun one. Colts and Texans playing each other. This is the game Waffle wants to love to watch. He wants both these teams in a 0-0 tie.
Yeah, should be a field day for the Colts. Obviously, Colts coming in with a lot of hype, and they're continuing the quarterback roulette. But they have Matt Ryan now, who I would say is better than the last few they've had. Texans, obviously, Lovie Smith coming in to coach. New coach, got Davis Mills, who, for what it's worth, looked pretty decent, pretty good last year. So maybe something to build on. Yeah. Pierce, the running back, the new kid, wins the starting job for the running back for the Texans. So excited to see him run the football. I just don't know if this Texans defense is going to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor. And I'm interested to see if Jonathan Taylor can follow up his monster season last year with another one, and he could continue a trend like Derrick Henry, like the last couple of seasons. Obviously, 2 seasons that Derrick Henry's had monster seasons with a 2,000-yarder. And Jonathan Taylor is definitely a candidate to go for 2,000 and win the rushing title. So, yeah. But the Colts defense is primed to be very good again. So I will definitely be watching and keeping my eye on this one for sure.
Yeah. Moving on next to the 4:00 window. Of course, talk about Titans and Giants. Green Bay goes to Minnesota. All right, Aaron Rodgers is there. No Devontae Adams, and now you got to see what happens there. And then Minnesota. All right, Kirk Cousins. Whose fault was it that this offense could not win ball games? Because this offense should be the best in the NFL with all the weapons they've had, and Minnesota should be winning titles like crazy. And they haven't got it done. Well, Childress is out. So now I think it's on Kirk Cousins to see, is it you or was it the coaching? So, yeah. Interesting to see. To get started off with a rivalry game. I think Aaron Rodgers is still going to be good. Despite no Devontae Adams. But it's interesting how that all worked out. He won it out, and it kind of like, I'll stay if Devontae Adams stays. Now, no Devontae Adams. So,
yeah.
Interesting there.
Should be a good one.
Kansas City goes to Arizona. Kansas Pat Mahomes has no Tyreek Hill now. Still Travis Kelce, so still good tight end there. Arizona, no DeAndre Hopkins because of the failed drug test, which is kind of weird situation there too. So interesting to see what Kyler Murray can do early. I think it's going to see what happens when those two quarterbacks. And of course, it's early in the year, so Arizona's going to look like the greatest team for 5 weeks, and then do nothing for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
This is the game that's intriguing to me. Las Vegas at the Chargers. Chargers got revamped, got a whole bunch of pieces in there. Vegas has a new coach. And Vegas last year, even despite all the injuries, made the playoffs and did well. And all the drama with John Gruden, did well. Now everybody should be back and healthy. That's going to be a heck of a game. The entire AFC West is going to be a heck of a fight.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Every single week. That's going to be fun. Herbert, I think, took a step forward, see if he can get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
This year. Going to be a lot of fun. Austin Eckler is a guy everybody says is going to be very underrated this year. So,
Chargers with a revamped defense, maybe that'll be what gets them over the hump because obviously they need a spark to get over the hump. They are good. The talent is there. We can all see that, but there's still too many close games, and they're not good in close games. And they need to take that next step. They very well could win this division, but that division is going to be a monster. So, yeah.
And then Sunday night game, the Bucks at the Cowboys. Brady is back. I hate life. And then you have the Cowboys who – you got to get it done, I think, this year. You got to do something this year. You got to win a playoff game this year, I think, because, man, you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Choked every year since, and now you're starting off with the Bucks who just keep getting random people that are probably over the hill but somehow find new life with Tampa Bay, and it's just insane. And I've seen all the predictions say the Bucks and the Bills in the Super Bowl. I'm like, I swear, do not let this man break my heart in the biggest game of my life.
God.
If that happens, I will just crawl in a hole and die. But if they beat him for the Super Bowl, greatest win of my life. greatest
Thanks.
line of my life.
Yes.
But yeah, so interesting to see what happens there to start off. And then Monday Night Football, Bronco Nation. That's right. Russ Wilson back home with Seattle, who has Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a long year, Seattle.
I wish Drew Lock would have won the quarterback battle, because I would definitely brand this the Drew Lock revenge game.
Yeah.
Too bad. This is going to be Seattle's in for it. It's going to be yikes.
It's gonna be a long year for Seattle. It was long with Russell Wilson last year, and
right
now, yeah. But Denver revamped now and got all those pieces. See what the Broncos can do this year. So yeah, gonna be a lot of fun NFL season, fun college football season. Waffle, we said we were going to keep this short. We did not.
No.
We did not. Glad our timing is still impeccable on these. Yes. But yeah, any last words you want to say to the folks and before we get out of here?
Mets, New York Mets. You better watch your back, buddy.
Yeah. Braves. Yeah, we got to do a little baseball. Yeah.
There's a lot of baseball left. Mets do have the easiest schedule for the rest of the year, but the Braves are playing really well. Regardless whether the Braves win the division or not, Braves are all but probably a lock, unless for a colossal collapse. Knock on wood. Braves, please don't. No, thank you. But Braves should make the playoffs, no doubt, and have the talent, despite a wild card or win the division, to run it back. I mean, honestly, Spencer Strider, Clemson kid, amazing.
Oh, good. He's looked
16 strikeouts, most in franchise history. Awesome. Very good. Mets, you better watch out, buddy.
Also, gotta get up for the Padres who finally get Juan Soto, and then Tatis, gone. So good for the Padres to just go out there, and they're still in the wild card, but only 2 games up on the Brewers. So
yeah. Also pulling hard for the Baltimore Orioles. Please make the playoffs. Please.
Yeah. And also Seattle Mariners. They're in right now. They're a half game up on the Blue Jays for that second spot. Mariners, the streak could be over. So a lot of storylines there for baseball as that gets ready to wrap up and the playoffs start. Going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to do it. Thank you for hopefully tuning in to all of this. We'll have more shenanigans, more reaction. I can tell you my Clemson Furman reaction will hopefully be short unless the Paladins do something insane. So,
right.
And then we'll have more reaction, analysis, news, notes, whatever you want to call it. And we are back, baby. Glad you could tune in. And we'll see you next week.